Come on, flat top, hey, come grooving up slowly. Got juju high low, hey, one holy roller. He got a down to his knee. Got to be a joker, you just do what you bleed.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Music Mondays, the show where I talk about a music album or a topic. Today we'll be taking a look at the discography of the Beatles. If you don't know who the Beatles are, they're a British rock band back in the 60s, running from 1963 to 1970. And in that 7 years, probably rose to ranks of legends in the music industry, creating songs that went through the hippie era and then a little bit after that, stuff like that. And with Disney Plus releasing Get Back, a live footage archival documentary coming out this Thanksgiving, I think, I decided, hey, let's go ahead and rank their albums from worst to best as I get lampooned down in the comments. So, while you're making a comment, like the video or dislike it, if the dislike one's still there. Subscribe and share it to your friends. How much you hate me. Also, just check out my socials at A Variant of Nate on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and my website at thisnathanpodcastnetwork.com. Don't mind me, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking, so I have my Jones cane sugar soda extreme sour. Probably the worst thing to drink during the video, but what the heck. Alright, out of the 22 albums, there are a lot. But, if you're a new Beatles fan or a superficial music fan, 22 albums in 7 years is a lot. And a lot of them are compilation albums during the British invasion of music along with Beatlemania. So, yeah, 22 is with the Beatles. 8 months after their first album, Please Please Me, they found success. What's unique about the album's 8 all songs are original compositions written with over 7 sessions in a matter of 4 months. That's very interesting. That's a very small period now. Sometimes they have a couple years to work, or some bands put out 6 months. But what's interesting about this one is a lot of these compilation albums, some of their songs from Please Please Me, but also they threw in a couple music covers from the popular rock bands at the time. Which isn't uncommon now. People do. August Red did it their last album, stuff like that. But they kind of as a stopgap when they're working on their next album. It actually has a record of being the first album export to the U.S. Unlike the debut album, which wasn't brought into the U.S. until 1987, 10 plus years after the band had broken up. It is introducing the Beatles. Introducing the Beatles is a lazy introduction. Originally scheduled for July 1963, eventually getting to the U.S. January 1964. It's interesting that I mentioned the U.S., not U.K., as a lot of these albums, again, like I said, were compilation albums for the U.S. during the Beatlemania. They brought them over instead of just releasing Please Please Me and just waiting till they worked on something. That company decided to do this, and that company was Parlophone, and through their sister company EMI and other companies like VJ Records and Capitol Records, they brought it over to varying success on each album, and releasing it through these multiple record companies created this fighting over rights, which I'll get into later. Again, with the Beatles, it had a lot of older songs and covers. This would last until their next album, A Hard Day's Night. And originally this was actually supposed to be Please Please Me, the actual release, but they decided to take a couple of the songs off and release it as introducing the Beatles, so it's just superfluous. 20 is Meet the Beatles. Coming again now in 1964 with the first 14 songs held in the Death Grip by BJ Records. Meet the Beatles is essentially just Please Please Me, but with the removed songs added back on. It's stupid and lazy. 19 is Twist and Shout. Actual song I do enjoy a lot. Is the only kind of decent song I got, as they're still in their kind of group they had from their first album. They really haven't reached the sound they would get later with like Yellow Submarine, Abbey Road, the White Album, stuff like that. Actually not a US release, it was actually a Canadian release, a repackaged of Please Please Me. A lot of these I'm just gonna say it's a repackage of Please Please Me. I'm sorry. Of I Saw Her and She Loves You. 18 is Beatles' second album, and if you thought it was actually their second album, it is not. It is a US release. Piling all the scraps of different covers from multiple albums, compiling it onto one. You know, it's a cover album, which, you know, I would enjoy. If they could just call it Beatle covers, I'd probably enjoy it a little more. But 17 is Long Tall Sally, another Canadian release, released in 1964, you know, pulling all the previously omitted songs from the Canadian releases, putting it on this album. I really like Long Tall Sally. It's, again, takes a lot of stuff that hadn't been released in Canada, and has, like, but it's really fun. I don't hear anyone really talking about this. Like, it just kind of sits there, but it has vibes of what would come later. And 18 is Something New, again, 1964, and it is something not new. It's carrying over the original 14 tracks from the Beatles that were originally held by VJ Records. Capitol Records put it on Something New, along with some tracks from Long Tall Sally, releasing this. Essentially new to American audiences, not to everyone else. 15 is Beatles for Sale. Their fourth studio album at the peak of Beatlemania. Feeling exhaustion from touring and previous releases. This album has a lot of new recordings, also some other songs that have been previously released, you know, along with some covers, and it's cool. I actually really like it, and you know, like a lot of step backs from something new, it marries kind of what Long Tall Sally did, is take the old Beatles and with the new Beatles, what they're becoming, and puts it together, and again, it's just another step to them becoming who they are later. Number 14 is Beatles 65. Beatles 65 did not come out in 1965, it came out in 1964, actually, and it's just another confusing breaking compilation album. You know, it's just Beatles for Sale with a couple added songs from A Hard Day's Night. It's really lazy. Is Beatles VI or Beatles 5? Is just, again, another grading hurdle into what the Beatles become. It's not their fifth album, it is just the fifth compilation album. It's essentially 6 tracks from it's essentially just the 6 tracks from Beatles for Sale thrown on there with a couple added stuff. It does nothing. It's essentially also a teaser for their actual 5th album, Help, teasing that as something they would do later. Number 12 is Yesterday and Today. Again, like a Beatles 5, where it teased the album Help, this one would tease, what would it tease? It would tease the future album Revolver with Yesterday, and again, becoming another compilation album with 2 songs from Help, 2 songs from Rubber Soul, and previously unreleased double-sided singles that were only released in Canada. Number 11 is their first debut album, is Please Please Me. I like this album. It's got some interesting songs on it, but I don't like this or sound of early Beatles. It's very uniform. It's very by the numbers, something the Beatles aren't known for. They're clearly just starting out, so, you know, that's kind of why it's so low on the list. Number 10 is A Hard Day's Night. Number 10, A Hard Day's Night. Their 3rd album, released in July 1964 through Parlophone, is, again, a soundtrack. Is actually their first soundtrack album for their first movie debut, A Hard Day's Night, which I really like. These next, like, 3 or 4 albums are those, and which I really enjoy. especially when we get to Help. But this first album where we get to see John Lennon and Paul McCartney actually work together on songs as a duo. It's just a work of their friendship and just partnering together to create new music. Just very early Beatles, but with an impressive instrumentation. 9 is Magical Mystery Tour. Released in 1967, is again another movie soundtrack. This is the weirdest one as it doesn't fit. It really doesn't feel like it fits the Beatles. It wasn't an actual theatrical release. It was a TV release. And I really feel like they just had to put TV-safe songs on at the time. I think that's what really affects it and kind of lower. I feel like it should be lower, but I do kind of still enjoy it for that it's so different. I heard were actually getting played on a local radio station here, 93.7, with songs like Taxman. They were played during the breaks. So I kind of have it as a nostalgia point. But it's only those songs that I really enjoy. Of these, I think the more I listen to some of the early stuff, the more I'll enjoy it. 7 is Help. Help, we need somebody. Help, we need anybody. Released in 1965 to companion their movie Help. The interesting thing about this album art is you see them laying on stark white. They're doing the signage of flags for help, which I find interesting. And I know in some other countries it would change due to the how they got the alphabets configured, which I find interesting. It's fun. The strengths of this album are its experimentation, something they would do forward, experimenting, trying new things, which I think is what gave the Beatles their sound, is them experimenting with a lot of with Yesterday, there's a lot of slow voice, and then other songs there's like this nice instrumentation, which I really enjoy. Number 6, we're getting down the wire, is Let It Be, their final album. Released a month after their breakup. It's kind of a sad note listening to it, knowing this was their last project. Coming after a stressful recording with, most people trying to break and get interviews, and then John Lennon and his then partner, Yoko, with their spiraling heroin abuse. It was stressful, and this album shows this weirdness and this tiredness, but also still showing their appreciation and love of music in each other. And it was like Abbey Road, recorded in studio. You can really tell as it's them having to stop and start, maybe just from the stress, interruptions. It's kind of sad. This isn't my favorite album, but it's still an enjoyment listening to it. For the aforementioned Abbey Road, that is number 5. I enjoy some. I like the live studio thing. Still wanting to work on Get Back, what would become Let It Be, in the aforementioned documentary that's coming. It's got one of my favorite songs come together, covered multiple times, but Godsmack and a bunch of other bands. It's a fun listen to, and I really like Leo Morticelli's cover. Go listen to it. I'll probably use it here in the video somewhere. But I really enjoy the sound. I like the, when I heard Something in the Way, I immediately thought of Nirvana's song, and clearly got inspiration from it. I think this album is very influential. I might not like all the songs on this album. I'm like, I don't know if I like that. I think over time it'll grow on me and I'll just really enjoy it. Number 4 is Rubber Soul, released in 1965 after a harrowing number of compilation albums, which I've already said I don't like in this video. It was a nice return to form. It's their 6th studio album, recorded in a 4-week period, which is kind of crazy, but kind of seeing their commitment. It was actually their actual 2nd album with original content, so it really feels like it's their 2nd album, but it's like their 15th or something like that. It's ridiculous. I like it. It's got some interesting songs on it. Again, like Abbey Road and Let It Be. There's a couple songs I like off of it, but I think the more I listen to it, the more I'll enjoy it. 3 is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Shaped Band. I really like this album. The album cover really caught me. You got them in some weird hippie military apparel, and then flowers and everything. It's very eye catching. Very you just comb over it for hours looking through it. And being their sixth studio out, yeah, and being their eighth studio album, it is again a soundtrack um, companion to another movie that they did. It was actually one of the I want to say, maybe I'm wrong, is one of the first concept albums, as this is something they would do with again, maybe just all their movie albums or just concept albums in disguise. This one, and then we'd go into Yellow Submarine. Again, and great influence for bands like 21 Pilots with Trench. I like all these songs. I like A Little Help from My Friends is a song about hanging on to friends when you need help. A good companion to actual song Help. And Lucy in the Sky Diamonds is clearly just them describing what it's like to be on LSD. It's a hippie album. Go listen to it. Number dos is Yellow Submarine. Yellow Submarine. Also, I want to talk about, they made a Lego set. So if you can, go get it. Like, I don't have it. I wish I did. But their 10th album released in 1969, like a year or two before they would end as the Beatles, compiled of 6 standalone songs and a bunch of other, I guess, covers or other concept stuff. It's a fun 30-minute ride, and we add the animation to it. It's just a nice trip of them being on a submarine. And like this one, they kind of wander, or the end, like with Bulldog, they end with them just howling, or Lady or Rich Man, it's just them chanting it, or Yellow Submarine is them diving lower and lower. It's fun. It's them clearly having fun and just enjoying themselves. I really enjoy it. And my number one is kind of a weird pick. It is the White Album. I like the song because they tried everything with this one. They threw the kitchen sink with this one. White Album is 30 songs, and there's a lot of interesting concepts added to it. There's just something I really enjoyed about the White Album. I guess all the concepts they took. Again, like the White Album, the White Album I might not enjoy right away. I think but why it's my top favorite is there's a lot of interesting songs, and a lot of songs I'm like, oh, I've heard this one. Oh, I've heard that one. Oh, I didn't know that was a Beatles song. Like, it's a lot of that. I think it's one of my favorite is that I kind of get a mystery whenever I listen to it. So I think it's probably why it's one of my favorites. I know it's a weird explanation, a very like fake fan explanation. It's not. It's just an album I like enjoy because I don't always realize it's a Beatles song. That's why I like it. Put down in the comments what you guys thought of the Beatles. Do you like the Beatles? What are your thoughts? And what do you think of this list? I guess check out the full playlist here of all my music reviews. And put down in the comments what's another ranked worst to best list you'd like to see, and I'll see if I'll do it. So yeah.